I decided I want a theme song from now on.
You should do it like a Gary Vaynerchuk one, like really
You're up.
dramatic.
Can you hear it?
Huh?
Is it
No.
playing?
No.
I was playing the final countdown. Maybe it'll play. You hear that?
Yeah, we can hear that. Hey, Chanel.
I was going to play this over and over for an hour. Okay. I'm not going to do that.
Just quietly, this is the worst day for me to be co-hosting. Everyone I love is in New York City, and I feel sad.
Just think
Except,
that you're there.
like, obviously the people here.
Yeah. It feels weird hosting this just because Jared usually sets this thing off, so I have to put on my big boy pants and make this happen.
Yeah, you do.
Great. So awesome. Welcome to the Roundtable, Entrepreneurs Roundtable, episode number 19. Sarah Moore will be substituting for Jared today. And I believe next week too, correct? Right?
Yeah.
Because I will be here. I think we threw it out there if you want to. Yeah, because I'm not going to, I'm going to be driving. I will be driving across the country. So if you're around, if you like getting up at 6 a.m. like you are right now.
Do you know what? I woke up before my alarm today. I woke up at 5:10.
What time is it?
My alarm was set for 5:30.
Oh, really?
6.
You're a good person. Sorry, I got to plug this in. Cool. So if anyone's tuning in who hasn't watched this before, what we do here is, again, this is episode 19. And we started this about 19 or I think 20 weeks ago because we did two roundtables in a row. And we like to talk about business, mindset, strategy, and things like that. So today we're talking about taking action to find clients. And there's kind of a subject that Sarah and I talk about a lot on the back ends of just, there's a lot of talk out there, I feel, with people that they just talk about strategy and they talk about all this bullshit and they talk about the funnels they're creating and the Infusionsoft and all this shit. But then they don't do anything. And it seems like a lot of people that we know are utilizing all these platforms to they're not really taking action with it. So what we're going to do today is kind of talk about what things you could do or what things we've done, or we're going to invite people in and say what you've done to, looks like Sarah's out of here for a second. Things like you've done to get in front of people. So let me get Sarah back in. And Cheval, I don't know how to say your name, but Cheval. We'll invite you in a sec, man. I'd love to have you in a minute. Let me just set this thing up and I'll get you in. So what we're doing is we're going to talk a little bit about things we've done to get in front of people creatively, like prospects, and then we're going to invite some people in. So please only ask to join if you have a good story of something you utilize or have utilized to get in front of people. If you just jump in and be like, if people just jump in and they're like, hey, I'm on Blab, we don't fucking want that. So please don't do that.
I know Jared just loves it when you just drop the F-bomb. And
Jared?
He wouldn't care. I know.
When we started this, I was like, I'm not doing this with any rules. So the more episodes you do it, though, the more, I think me and Jared were talking about this last week, you feel kind of a responsibility and oh man, more people are watching this and you have to be more professional, but I don't really want to do that. I mean, I want to be more structured. So when we have interviews, I'm not emailing them 20 minutes before and saying, hey, are you still good to jump on?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Yeah. I have some kind of a system going there. So Sarah, what are your thoughts on this topic right now? Just kind of kick this off.
Well, I know that we're bringing people in to talk about specific, I guess, case studies, if you will. But when you and I were discussing this, I feel like there's definitely some principles, and we're not I'm going to shift away from the idea of paying to find your client, because I don't think that's really what we're here to talk about. But if anyone else has paid to find a client and it's been an amazing story, feel free to share. But a lot of us hear from school of Gary Vaynerchuk. And
Gary
so we
Vee.
all know about this idea of jab, 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 right hook. So giving value, giving value, giving value, and then going for the ask. And that's pretty much a principle by which I base most of my digital marketing on. So when I work with a client, that's pretty much what we go for.
Yeah.
Even in the paid stuff, But in terms of giving value and kind of like going for the ask, the story that I wanted to bring to the table specifically was so I couldn't get him here either. Jared's here. What? Jared, jump in.
What the fuck is Jared here? Jared, you're on the road. What are you doing? The fuck?
On the road. Huh? He's like, I just want a beer this week.
Seriously. He's back.
So my friend, actually, Jason, and I have permission to share his story. He was one of the earlier adopters of Blab, and he began using Blab a lot. And Jason's really techie, really smart, and it didn't take him long to kind of figure Blab out. People are still jumping on Blab, talking about Blab. Like for some reason, it takes some people a long time.
Too. Like, hey, let's talk about Periscope. We talk about this all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like no one on Twitter is going, hey, I'm on Twitter. No one does that.
No. Yeah. So Jason jumped on Blab, and he basically just kind of got to this point where he would just make himself available, and when people were jumping on, he would go into people who specifically had stated that they were starting a new Blab. He would go into anywhere people were having problems. He would just Blab hop, and he basically, anytime someone needed help, he would jump in, and sometimes before the Blab team, because you can ping the Blab team. If you know who to ping, you ping them and they will be here like that. And if you've never seen a tour of their headquarters, you are missing out, because it's the most amazing place to work. It's ridiculous. They have their own personal chef. They have
is it in Twitter? Is it in Twitter's home base, like home office?
No, they have nothing to do with Twitter except that they feed out.
Periscope. Wait, no, I thought Blab had. Okay.
No, we're talking about Blab.
All right, I thought Blab was a creation of that, but never mind.
No, so Blab's its own entity. But anyway, So Jason would Blab hop, and he's been doing this for months. He's been doing this since I've been on here, and I'd be interested to actually know how long he's been on. He might have been on a bit longer than me. I've been on for about, I don't know, I'm going to say nearly 2 months.
Yeah, you're pretty new to it.
Pretty new to it.
You're getting novice compared to me, who's been on like 3 times or 5 times.
Well, it has been around for ages, but I think I jumped on. I've been on 52 days. I'm going to look up Jason. Not that this is interesting to anyone, but I just want to know how long he's been on, because it will help make my point.
Yeah, this is only an hour, Sarah.
Sorry. Damn it. I wish it would search it better.
Yes, Jared, I know I'm taking Periscope. We just went over that. Thank you.
Here he is. So he has been on he's been on 8 days longer than me. So he's been on a week longer than me, right?
Okay.
And that whole time he's just been giving. From my understanding, I think he's been one of the people that have like messaged Blab, and he's been like, this feature would be really, really awesome. I'm even under the impression he's gone in and like written code and given it to them.
Wow.
I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on it. I actually feel really bad now I said that.
I'm going to change the headline now to you saying that.
Yeah, Jason wrote code for Blab.
Sarah's giving false information.
So they made an announcement last week, and they actually invited Jason onto the Blab team. And the Blab team is small. So before Jason, there was only 12 people. And then last people, they added 2 more. And it was Jason and someone else. And he gets to work remotely from, I think he lives in Canada or near Toronto or something. So able to work from his home. And yeah, that's who he is, tech stud. So he's Periscope Summit with everyone else at the moment. Um,
Let's not talk about that, Sarah. Let's
I
be
wanted,
happy.
yeah, it's a sore point. I wanted to share that story with you guys because even though it's not, we're all kind of like entrepreneurial and we're kind of like, how do we find our clients? I just thought it was actually a really, really brilliant example of the principle of giving value. And then he actually never went for the right hook. They went to him.
Right.
So he's
Did he
still
know what he
kind
was
of
doing? But like when he started all that, did he have a strategy, or was he just kind of like, I just know this stuff? Because there's like a balance. There's the people who there's like the organic where they don't know what they're doing, and they're like, I just like doing this, and there is no purpose for me doing it, but just to do it. Or there's other people like, I know how to do this stuff. I'm gonna just jab, 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 with the purpose that hopefully it's gonna land to a job or some business or something like that. So like, where did he fall in that?
Well, I know that, like, I can't, I don't want to put any words in his mouth. I can't say for sure. I haven't had a long enough conversation with him. I don't think he ever went into it hoping to get a job.
I love
I
that.
knew he was unhappy where he was.
So it was just genuine, pure, genuine give.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I probably, to help this story, is I've got another friend who's particularly that way inclined too. His name's Tristan. You guys should know him. He's in Entrepreneurs Roundtable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they would do a lot of stuff like that together. So I think it actually like bonded them as friends as well. So I think it kind of became a thing where they just like did it together in much in the same way that you and Jared run the Entrepreneurs Roundtable group. You don't get paid for that.
Right.
It just becomes a labor of love.
Yeah.
And granted, there's probably a few end goals, but I can't say that it was this way for Jason, but I just think it's a fabulous example of giving. And like I said, he never right hooked. I mean, some might argue that he did by taking the job, but he never asked for it. He was offered it. And in my opinion, Blab is a better place because he's on their team, because he's an amazing human being. So
Yeah. Like I've seen what got me started in doing like any kind of creative like career was I saw like a bunch of t-shirt companies out there that would just there was this one I've talked about a lot. It's called Full Bleed, and I actually tweeted to Rob. I don't know him personally. I just buy his shirts a lot, and I don't think he's like big into this whole world of doing this stuff. But what I saw was he is a designer and he's sick. He does this clothing company called Full Bleed, and his whole move was just organic. It was based on either a frustration or just a love and a passion for music. And what I saw, because I started following him in 2004, and he was the guy who was making all of the like the online posters and physical posters for bands. So he just focused on bands he loved, would just contact him and say like, I want to design for you. So he started doing that, and then like bands like Thursday and Circus Survive and like these like underground punk bands that are now like a lot bigger, or Thursday's done, but these are like really big names in like the underground scene. He just had a passion for them, so he started designing for them, and then you started seeing that Thursday would be playing in front of like 5,000 people when they're on tour, and this giant banner behind them was one that Rob did. But his designs were so incredible that he just wanted to design. So he's an illustrator. So it led to him doing work for Blink-182. He did like things in like magazines and things like that. It's like just like bigger bands and things and all this stuff. So he still illustrates for these companies. He started a clothing company called Full Bleed based on just having his own creations be bought, you know? And I like that because he just genuinely, it looked like he had a passion for music. He just started creating things for bands, and then they started hiring him to do their work, you know? And I don't know if I think he was like, I really want to work for these bands, or I really want to design for these bands. So let me just give them stuff and maybe that'll work, you know? Yeah. I actually used that strategy one time because there's a band, and my favorite band is Sunny Day Real Estate. And the lead singer is Jeremy Enoch. And I have just been a fan of them since I was 14 years old. So it was back when MySpace was around. His record label put out a record of his called OK Bear, and he started touring on it. And they said, we need a designer to do his t-shirts. So I literally just messaged him and sent him 7 designs and said like, here are my designs. And he actually chose one, and he used the one design as his design for the entire tour. It was the coolest thing in like my fucking life. You know, like I've got like
That is,
a
yeah.
tattoo on me that's like Sunny Day Real Estate, and you know, I got to meet. It was crazy, but it didn't lead to business, but it led to me getting in the front line, and he picked my design. You know,
And
so
and now, like, you can say that to people who care about that band, like
yeah,
that means something now. And it's
yeah,
funny because I was watching Gary Vee last night, and you know, he's said a similar thing. And my friend who I was talking about before, not Jason, the other one who's a bit nerdy,
okay,
we had this conversation the other day actually, that if you go and pitch to big people and you do it for free or you do it very low cost, which, by the way, is how Gary Vaynerchuk started VaynerMedia. He did low cost and he got big wins, and then he put his money up. But
yeah,
yeah, Gary Vee's like, if you go after a big name and you do it for nothing, the collateral from working for that big name, to be able to say I worked for Coke, or
yeah.
or I worked with, you know, or to put a name that means something, that has weight behind it, to be able to even drop that next time you speak to a prospect,
Mm-hmm.
that's huge. That's
That's almost
massive.
that's worth more than the cost of what you would take to do the project. You know, that
Exactly.
equals dollars, because that name two ways. Either it's going to get you in the door and you're going to work with their team and they're going to like you and trust you, and then they're going to go, hey, we have this project that we need you to do for 10 to 15 $50,000, like who knows what it is, can you do it? And that's when you're like, yeah. Or they never hire you, but you can slap their logo on anything you do, so when people reach out to you, that could lead to more business that way. So what potentially you could have earned, like maybe a couple $1,000s doing a project for them, you can earn more than that in the long run. And that's what people, I don't think they understand, because I've talked to people before and they're like, why would I do that for free? You know, I need to pay bills. It's like, idiot. This is going to create value and build your network, and they're probably, and you're going to have it inside. So, you know, sometimes it's okay to do free work. If people are asking you all the time to do free work, then you should say, you know, then you should weigh if it's going to, what the value is to you and now and in the future. But I think with this conversation, it's, you don't have a connection to any of these companies. So what's your foot in the door to get in front of them? You know,
Exactly.
like Gary, who's in the Entrepreneurs Roundtable. So for anyone watching, if you want to get into the Entrepreneurs Roundtable, it's on Facebook. It's a free group. Just ask to join and we'll let you in. Gary is a guy who does he's like selling sales training, and he does business coaching. So I had a call with him last week, and he offers a free call. And that's part of his is part of strategy. His is give something away, you get value, and then you feel a connection and you want to gain from him. So I was on a phone call with him last week for like 2 hours, and usually his calls are way less than that. And he was like, he tagged me in something and said, do this and reach out. He's like, make a list of 100 people you want to get in contact with and offer them something free. And I think I read it a little bit wrong. So I just went on LinkedIn, because I'm connected. Usually I know a lot of my connections on LinkedIn. I started just blasting everyone with a script saying, hey, this week I'm doing a free giveaway on anything. It could be business, it could be personal, whatever. Let me know if you want, want anything, help from me. And I had so many people contacting me, either like, this is brilliant, yeah, I don't need anything, what do you need? Or they said, yeah, like I need a babysitter, I'm moving to DC, or I need help with an HVAC unit in my home. And I literally started connecting them up to the point where one of my friends who I've been talking to in a while, who needed an HVAC unit, literally mailed me back. He's what is he? HR of Harpoon in Boston, which is it's like a beer company. And he was like, can we get on a phone call? Because I think this is an amazing tactic, and I want to pick your brain. So I was like, yeah, so it got me in front of an old friend, and he was like, yeah, how did you utilize, like, why did you do this? Like, how does it work for you? And it was just explaining to him. So if I reached out to him and said, hey man, can I do an animation for your company? He might be like, no, sorry. But since I gave something, it opened up a conversation. We had a conversation last week, and it led for like an hour, So now it didn't lead to business, but now I'm in his memory bank too. So if some animation does come around, he might be like, you got to, there's this guy, Mike, he owns this Drive 80, this animation company. We should talk to him first, because this is what we need,
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So, sorry.
No, I was just going to say another example of someone who gave value and was kind of similar situation to Jason. Was my friend Tristan. He told me that he's just been sharing heaps of buffer content on Twitter, and they approached him about him working for them. And I tell you what, if you go onto the Buffer website, you want to work for Buffer.
Yeah, oh my God, they're incredible. Yeah, they tweeted me back, and we talked about this. I created.
How much of them have followed me since I shared your animation just quietly?
How many people followed me?
No, I've had a whole bunch of the Buffer team follow me now.
Oh my God, me too.
Because
yeah,
I shared it.
Yeah, it was freaking crazy. I mean, Sarah posted.
You need to talk about that though.
All right. So what started this topic too is the other day I actually did this. So this whole week I decided like I fell off of creating things, and I really like creating. So I was like, I'm just going to start creating animations once a day that I'm going to put on Instagram, because I feel like everyone's looking at Instagram and it's a really good outlet. So I started just picking a topic every day and designing it and animating it and throwing it on Instagram. And I just tagged people. Like my favorite coffee place in Portland, I did 2 for them. A tea place I did. And then Sarah posted on Twitter yesterday or 2 days ago. No, was it 2 days ago or was it last week?
It was last week, I think.
Yeah, on Friday, Sarah posted this article and she just retweeted it. And it was like, top 10 companies and why their culture is awesome. And I read it and it was really cool. And I like the one about Blab because what they did internally, I thought was pretty neat.
You like the one about Buffer?
Buffer, sorry. So I like the one about Buffer. And so I was like, it's real simple. I can do this in 15 seconds. Let me just do their 5 things that they do. So I designed it real quick and animated it. It took me a whole day. And I posted it and I sent it to them and said, hey guys, I did this. I don't know if you want it. And they ended up being like, that was amazing. And their culture, to get to Sarah's point, is they emailed me back this ridiculously nice email that was just like 2 paragraphs of how thankful they were. And it was so cool. And it was really nice to me. And like all of this stuff. I thought it was like freaking awesome. So I
Wait,
posted
who was that?
Instagram.
Who emailed you that?
Buffer.
They really?
Yeah.
They emailed you.
I sent him a thing on Twitter, said, I've got I did something for you and animated. Do you want it? Do you want to use it? And they said, yeah, send it to us. That's great. So I sent it to them and they're like, this is so cool. We really appreciate it. Like, thank you so much. That was really nice. And it was just this really genuinely nice email.
Oh,
and it
cool.
spoke volumes about what kind of culture that they have,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you guys are ever thinking of going back to traditional work, go and get a job with Buffer. Just saying, if anyone's at that point where their entrepreneurial spirit is broken, go work for Buffer.
Yeah. Some of these companies out there that they just have this really cool, like, I think these are the companies that would do something to give away, So I'm trying to build my company so I can, instead of spending all this marketing on funnels and squeeze pages and all this shit that just like, it works. I get it. It works. But my gut instinct is just, I like giving because it's just really easy and it's fun to create these things. So my scope now is just turned to spending more of my time during the day to creating things, because I've gotten more response in this last week than I have in months from doing this on Instagram and on Twitter and things like that.
Did you tell the story about the animations you've got post doing, like the ones that you've been putting on Instagram?
What do you mean?
You know how you closed? I think you closed one yesterday. Someone asked you to do one because they saw one of your other ones? I thought it was.
Yeah, it was. So I just started posting a lot of stuff on Instagram, and actually 2 things happened. I had I would post on Instagram and then I'd share it on my Facebook page and upload to Facebook and YouTube. So I just put it everywhere and it was just content. I got a call last week from a buddy of mine who works for a company, like a large company. And he said, hey, we need to get a phone call last week. I have an idea for an animation project. Excuse me. So he saw, like, he saw the work that I'm doing, which is like, oh, I remembered that I did that. So it got in front of him. So I have a call this week, which could potentially lead to like a shit ton of money, but get the project. Again, this is all what if. But then yesterday, I had a friend reach out and said, hey, my boss mentioned animation. Obviously, I thought about you. We have this project. Can you do it? It's due this day. I said, sure. Like within 30 minutes, I had the money within an hour, I had the money in my account to do the project. And that was from just sharing content. That was just like making it and sharing it. So it wasn't directly at them, but they saw what I was doing and it got me in front of them. And then I closed business yesterday. And I had no clue it was coming. It was the coolest thing, So I think you have to find out what your product is and find a way to get in front of the people you want to work with and offer that to them somehow. Especially if it's like a brand new website, that's something different. But if it's something smaller and that's what you do, you should find something like, hey, I can do this for you. It could take you a couple hours and just give it to them. It could open up the door a lot easier,
Yeah.
So like Sarah, like for you, like what have you done recently? So I figured like we'll do this now. We got like 30 minutes left. So explain something you've done recently or something you've read, and then what we'll do is we'll open this up to some people who have some stories. We'll let them jump in and give some advice on things that they've done.
I have two stories. So the first one is the first client I got, my first digital marketing client I got. So I've had my business since like September last year. So I've been around for about a year, but when I started, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So
Right.
I didn't get any clarity till about June this year, kind of. And then I got my first client in July. So that's kind of like how long I've been operating, just for the spirit of transparency for people. So not actually very long, like a few months, really. And so the first client I got, it was funny because I still didn't really, I knew the area, I knew I wanted to be in digital marketing, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to offer or give or do. And before I did know, I was actually at one of my retreats. I have a business mentor, and I was talking to someone there, and we just met for the first time, and I was talking to him, and he was telling me about his business and everything, and he's sort of struggling with it. He's like, I've tried everything, Laura. And I was like, oh, why don't you do this? And we talked for so long, and I just was like, if this was my business, this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. And I just gave him all of these ideas. And it wasn't like, you need to do Facebook ads, you need to do AdWords. It wasn't generic like that. I was like, step by step, this is what I would do to find your ideal client and get in front of them, not knowing that would lead to anything. And then, interestingly enough, in that session, the session straight after it, my business mentor got me up and he like dismantled my business in front of everyone and built it back up. And then after that, that guy I was speaking to, he was like, I really want to work with you. And, yeah, so he's my first client. So I'm working with him at the moment still because it's a bit of a long-term relationship.
That's awesome.
So that probably partly came, like, I'll be honest, I'm not, I'm self-aware enough to know that probably partly came from the fact that I got up and my business was dismantled and kind of put back together in front of everyone.
So explain that real quick. What does that mean? Like, it
meant that he got me up and he was like, asked me a bunch of questions, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I was just like, I don't know what I want to do.
I just want money.
Yeah, I couldn't articulate what I wanted to do very well, and
right.
And I had to, I just had to stand there, and he was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And would ask me questions, and then and it was just it was like in front of a room of 60 people as well.
God.
So it was I was a bit nervous at the start. Jodie was there. If Jodie's still in here, she was there. She's from my group.
Oh, nice.
And so that's what happened. And so part of it was because of that. And do you know what it was? It's not that he built my business back up. It's not that he dismantled it and built it back up, because really that's a very vulnerable thing. And you wouldn't hire someone because of that. It's because people got to see me and my personality, and people buy from people. And that is why, although funnels are awesome, once established, it is why people will buy from you if you reach out like Mike did, because people want the connection. They want to be able to trust you. And if you reach out to them, you're more likely to close a sale face-to-face than any other method. Other method. And people hide behind digital marketing, and I really hate that.
I do too.
As someone who does digital marketing, I really, really hate the idea that people get so caught up in having perfect funnels that they forget that they can pick up the phone. They forget that they can drive to someone's office. Yeah. But anyways, what I was going to say was, I think so I think mine was kind of twofold. I think it was the fact that people got to know my personality, but also before that even happened, this guy I'd already given. I basically gave him a strategy without ever expecting anything in return.
Well, the cool thing too is that when you do that, they see that your brain is working, so they get a sneak preview of what you can do, and then they're like, "I don't want to do this. Can I just hire you to do it?" And you're like, "Sure, absolutely."
Yeah. And the other example I was going to give is, it's not the greatest example because the follow through is just a bit, but
a bit.
It's the first time I ever tried cold emailing, and at the time it was before I knew what I was doing. I think even before I even had a business mentor. It was very early this year. It was probably like January, February. And I just decided to cold email people and basically tell them how crap their website was and how to fix it and how to optimize it to get people to sign up and all that kind of stuff. And I happened to just pick this guy who was already in the IT industry. And I was like, this is everything wrong with your homepage. I was really nice about it.
Yeah,
I created a Google Doc. I put all the problems, but I put all the solutions in as well. So basically, he could walk away and give that to a web developer, or he could do it himself. To be fair, and he would never have to hire me.
Right.
And he emailed back, and this is cold. I did not know him from a bar of soap. He emailed me back within an hour, and he was like, could you do this for me? And I had a web designer-y developer friend at the time, and she was looking for that kind of work. She doesn't do it anymore, but I was like, yes, I can. I got a price from her. I sent it back. He's like, okay, cool. He's like, I'm going to contact you. He said, my website is being redeveloped at the moment anyway. I will contact you after that so we can, because I was majoring on optimization. It wasn't just like your website's crap. It wasn't.
Right.
There was a lot of like psychology kind of things behind it, but I never followed it up because I never actually wanted to do website optimization. So it was more just like a test for me to just take action. And that's the other thing that Mike and I wanted to talk about today, this idea of just taking action, just doing something.
Yeah.
Because it's once you start taking action that things start happening. I mean, you guys would have seen Entrepreneurs Roundtable a few months ago when I was just like, had all this momentum. And that's because I was taking action.
Right.
That's because I was just putting one foot in front of the other. I wasn't doing anything amazing. It's just doing.
There's a lot to be said about that. It's like people have this grand vision of they want to run a marathon, yet they haven't even run a mile really well. So you have to get off the couch and if you don't like running, that's your first problem. But if you're like, I really want to like running, I really want to run a marathon, your first fucking thing you got to do is walk a mile. Just walk it, or walk a half a mile, or get up every morning and just walk, because you're getting the boulder rolling. Like the ball is rolling, it's going to pick up momentum, and you're going to feel like you have a purpose. You're going to feel like you're accomplishing something and you're getting something done. And that's the thing about entrepreneurs. And I talked about my buddy with this a while ago, like a couple of years ago. We both own businesses. His does really well, and they're in New Jersey. They do really good websites. And he was like, the problem with entrepreneurs is like, you have to go to bed feeling like you accomplished something, And I feel a lot of people feel down when they go to sleep at night, or they feel beat up on themselves because they're so busy coming up with strategy. And at the end of the day, they have like this 15 pages of notes and they have nothing that they've done. So you have to take those notes and just do one little snippet of it, that first thing. And because you'll be like, all right, I did that. That's awesome. Now it's the next thing, And that's one of the reasons why I started doing the animations, the Instagram animations, because for the last week, I went to a coffee shop and I was like, I just want to animate something. I haven't physically done something in a while. And I did it. And then the ball rolled and I got one done the next day. And then the next day I was like, holy crap, this is like awesome, because everyone's looking at Instagram. I can tag the hell out of this stuff. And what it's like returned in less than a week has been like, I'm super motivated. I feel like I've got a purpose again. I'm creating stuff. I've got about 6 animations under my belt, which I didn't have before I did it. And I've got a lot of content now. It's like I could put it on Facebook. I can, I've got in front of Buffer. I got in front of this tea company in Portland I love. and people were responding to it. So I just physically did it instead of going, well, let me spend a week and just be like, how can I strategically get this in front of them? What's the strategy to do? Like, what's this? Like, no, just do it. And then figure that other crap out later. Like, have the stuff in front of you, you know? And I think to just real quick before we invite someone in, so to Sarah's point of like reaching out to people and saying that their websites, like, you know, whatever, the big point that she put in there, she did it nicely. I had someone email me last week and tell me everything wrong with my website. Basically, he Twittered me back and said, your website's awful. That'd be like if I was fat and someone said to me, you're fucking fat. You need to lose weight. Here's how you're going to do it. I'd be like, fuck you. I'm not buying from you. If someone said like, you know, you'd have to soften it. So Sarah's approach was great and it returned value. So you have to make it softer.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what I'm going to do is let someone in. Okay. Here he is. It was got a good story. Shaval.
Yeah.
Who's been graciously and politely. Thanks for, you know, being very patient. You've tried to get in since the beginning. So sorry, man.
Oh, no problem, guys. Well, what I was saying, you know, one person that comes to mind when you talk about providing value is Kamasi Constable. He basically, his story is very unique because he basically worked as a bread delivery person for 12 years before, and his dream was to become a writer. What he did was write, providing value for, you know, for different people. Mm-hmm. And over time, he ended up, you know, like he's wrote supposed to books. He wrote for different like guest posting, and over time he ended up building a successful business that allowed him to move his family to Hawaii, to where now he lives at right now, and he's always constantly giving value, providing value every time because, you know, because he understands that, you know, if you're going to be successful, you have to provide value. You have to over deliver, and basically under promise. Because if you're just going to continuously, you know, provide like internet marketers like going to continuously like saying, oh, you know, buy this product and not providing value, then you're going to lose out. And I think that's what people might need to understand. You know, it's hard work and dedication too.
Yeah, man. I think another point there is like, so what was his name again? Who did this?
Kamasi Constable.
So, and he had a passion for what he was doing, right?
Yes, he does.
I think that's a big thing too. Like, let's say he was just like, I think I want to make, you know, an app or something. I don't know, you know, something that he didn't really love. I don't think you could have the gas in the tank to keep providing stuff like that. You know, if he didn't have a real passion for doing it, I don't think you can just easily make things up like that if you don't really, because there's like, if you're doing it as well, like you have to feel excited about doing it, right? So I'm sure when he was doing this stuff, he had an actual passion for when he was doing this stuff for people, and then a return, and it was great. So there's like this nice mix that it's got to be. That's my opinion. I mean, some people might say that I'm wrong, but like I think whatever your point is, like you have to really love what your product is, and then that will drive you to be willing to give away free stuff. You know, and then that'll lead to growth. I think if your purpose is just to make money and not to really give value, I think that the universe has its way of kind of kicking you in the ass and being like, no, that's not going to work. You know?
If you want to do that, you may as well just go and work for someone. Like
exactly.
Yeah. Like I saw this, there was this cartoon years ago, like decades ago now when I was a kid. And there was this like, this little girl like lost a ring or a bracelet in a lake, and this guy comes out of the lake is like, I'm the master of the lake, and she's like, I lost my bracelet, and he's like, well, is it this one? And he holds up like one diamond, and she's like, no, that's not it. She's like, well, it's this one. It was like gold. She's like, no, that's not it. It's like this one's like wooden shitty one. She's like, yeah, that's it. So he gave her all three because she was being genuine and honest, you know, and she was like she was like, no, that's genuinely not it. Then the other person, then like later on, someone else came back and all three were shown. She's like, well, I think it's all of them. It was the diamond one, and the guy called bullshit. So I think that's like what I'm saying is the universe has its way of calling bullshit on people. It knows when you're not being genuine. And you have a genuine purpose, and you love what you're doing, and there's a reason for it, and there's also like, you know, a reason of giving back. I think that's where it all starts to really flow, and that's when things start to give back, you know. And it's also like a nice give and take. But it's my rant.
Definitely agree. I mean, and just I'm not self-promoted, but I'm currently reading this book called "Invisible Selling Machine" by
Okay.
Ryan Dice. It basically is like hits a point on building up providing value, building that to your audience basically, and
Awesome, man.
and basically if and that's basically what everyone needs to do, and just by looking at it, it's like you know, it's no wonder why most people are not, doing what they love because they understand that it's hard work and
Right.
dedication in order to build that audience. So that's probably that. So that's really why reason why many are just working in corporate world right now. I'm in a Starbucks right now, and there's so many employees here at the moment buying
Yeah.
coffee right now, and they're probably
Yeah.
miserable at the moment.
Do me a favor, man, and I'm gonna open up the seat for someone else if you don't mind. But thanks for stopping in. Do me a favor, can you put a link to that book like in the comments so people can click on it if they want to get it? You could like find it on Amazon or something like that.
I think he's on his mobile. So
Oh, okay. Well, if someone could
I'm
find that, that'd be awesome. Get a pumpkin spice latte for us. Good idea. Does anyone else have like a cool story of something they did? Nick Barry, I don't know if you're there. Your phone is crapping out on you, but if you'd love to jump in and give, that'd be awesome. But feel free. This is like your moment to jump in and just get in front of people and give some really good. This is like a way to give away something free. So until that happens, let me just look here. So like Sarah, just to kind of think about different avenues of giving, like what would you think about, like for your platform, it's your two main ones are Blab and Twitter now, and like Periscope. Like I don't know where you've kind of fallen in or out of between Blab and Periscope. Like which would you say?
I'd probably give less time to Periscope now, more time to Blab.
So like if you're on Blab, then like what would you say is a good, like what is something you've seen out there where people have done a show or something where it was really cool to like give?
I've seen Robert Stern basically create a show where, hey Jared, where he's taken, it was actually an Aussie, hey Nick, an Aussie's business, and she wanted to basically rebrand, start from scratch. I haven't watched it all, but I know he did it, and he got a whole bunch of people in there. But like Robert's got a massive audience, so when he jumps on, a lot of people jump on anyway. But he basically he coached her on here.
Okay.
People jumped in and said, I'll do your website. Other people jumped in and said, I'll give you a new logo. I can't remember what else, but all this was for free as well. So I've seen people use Blab for that. I've seen other people use it to like basically have people jump in and they coach them, like through social media and stuff like that. I know that I hosted a show with Brian Fanzo all about going from a Twitter lurker to a power user. So basically the floor was open for people to come in and ask questions, which is, like Brian's not the most accessible person in the world, but he's very good on Twitter. Although he's not terribly inaccessible, but you know what I mean? Like a lot of people took that opportunity. It was a huge success. So I've seen it used for that. You and I have talked about ideas, but I haven't executed on any of them yet. So
yeah, I don't. For some reason, I think I'm usually burned out by the end of the day, and I just don't want to talk to people on Blab. Like I have so many ideas of jumping on here and being like one idea I want is to jump on here and have like a mastermind group of people like who wants to jump in and just mastermind for like 30 minutes, or who wants to talk about Think and Grow Rich. Like that's one I really want to do because it's specific. And I feel it would attract the right people and just talk about a chapter at a time and be like, how has it helped your business? Things like that. And I always want to do it, but by the time I get home from doing stuff or just, working all day, I'm so fried. I just don't give a shit to talk to anybody. So it has to be like midday. But Jared, how is this happening? And real quick, Nick, I'll get to you in a sec. I really want to hear the story you're going to share.
So
I see your life behind
how
it.
this is happening is probably the topic of our next episode. It's when companies screw you over and have horrible customer service.
Oh man!
And so as you can see, like, I'm not on the road.
Wow.
All my stuff is not packed.
Oh my god!
I did have a moving crew here last night at 9:00, 4 hours late, threatening me, trying to get an extra $1,100, and then I eventually had to kick out of my house.
Holy
and
crap.
I now have no moving company. So we have our topic for next week.
Let's just talk shit about this
That
company
would
for an
be-
hour.
Because I'm literally, like, right now I'm really fired up on the whole, like, customer service thing. Because I was like, I was even at because I'm just tired of it,
Yeah.
man. I'm just tired of, I go to the grocery store and I ask a manager a simple freaking question, and he's too busy talking to the cute person who's like, a checker to even get. He's like, oh, if I have any, it'll be on this line. I was like, what do you mean if you freaking have some? This is
Yeah.
your store. Like, where is it? Do you have it? You should know your inventory. Obviously, I'm looking for it. I'm in a hurry. So I'm like, I wanted to message the other day. I was like, give me a crappy rundown about to go out of business local grocery store surrounded by chains. In 18 months, I'll put one of them out of business. Like, I'm so tired of bad customer service. I was talking to my mom about it, about how, like, some companies have just taken their entire marketing budget, like Zappos, and given it to customer service and don't even market because of it.
But I think that's a good point, though. I mean, I think that's a good point. That's also, even the bigger companies, they fall out of this whole giving thing. Even something like that, like, that's just the amount of people. Like, right now, we got like 10 people watching, if I'm reading this correctly. Like, that's 10 people who you could talk shit about this company with, mention their name, and that just spreads. And then someone might be like, tweet at them like, you're an asshole. It's just bad customer service is bad giving, I think.
It's funny. It's funny, Jared, because two things. The first one, I was only just thinking yesterday about customer service, and I was thinking, imagine what would happen if a big company did nothing for 1 year except appease every single complaint and do everything they could to have amazing customer service.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they're wrong, like, even if people take them for a ride, who cares? Because think about your best customer. Like, the best customers come from people who are annoyed. And like, you should get my husband on here. He won't because he doesn't want to be on camera. But he was talking to me the other day about he's just got something fixed for our church, like a speaker or something like that. And the guy that he had to go through and deal with, oh my gosh, it was like the most ridiculous situation, just like not getting back to him, like Tom ringing up and like going straight to an answering machine, even though he's there, getting a text message back like hours later, or like going, it's done, it's waiting for you to pick it up. It's like, why didn't you call me when it was done?
Yeah.
Like, Tom's traveling around all day because he's an electrician. He could have swung past and picked it up at any point instead of going out of his way to have to go and get it. And just like this guy, and then Tom like calling back yesterday or something, and he's like, "Oh, I'm actually like out of town or something like that. You'll have to go and get it from my parents or something." And then going, "Hang on, I'll make sure they're home." Like, not getting back to Tom for hours, all via text as well. Like, Tom's like, "Why couldn't you pick up the phone and just call me?"
Wow.
Like, just bad. Like, especially if you work for yourself, all that stuff has to be like next level, because otherwise you can't compete.
That's ridiculous.
If you're going to give bad service, I may as well go to my local big grocery store or my local big chain of whatever it is, get a cheaper price and get bad customer service there.
Well, the funny thing about this too is this guy who's given the bad service, he didn't realize that someone in Australia was going to be talking to people in America bad-mouthing their company. So now it's global is the complaint, and they don't. That's how fast it works. Obviously, it's just like people are so fucking stupid. Oh man!
Right.
Real quick, Nick. Wait, we gotta. I've been.
So
I called Nick out like right before this started because I was like, Nick Berry, you better get in here. So I really want to get him to give his story. We also have like 9 minutes left, and sorry, Jared. I love you. But Nick, I got to hear this gem, and if it's not good, I'm just gonna X you out. So you better impress me within 30 seconds. Go.
I've been hustling. I have a full-time business. We're in agricultural sales. It's boring as crap for 10 months out of the year. I literally don't do anything for 10 months out of the year. Right now, I'm working 60, 70 hours a week. Goes the rest of our team. So, but the rest of the year, I'm always doing something, side hustle, trying to do something on my own. That's where Thankably came from, which is morphing into something else.
That's the letter writing thing, hey. You don't know how many times I've referenced your business on a blab or on Periscope. I'm like, I know this dude, and all he does is write letters. His handwriting's bad, but he's killing it.
Yeah. I got an order from my first customer, one of my first big customers, thankfully, yesterday. We're doing a 200-piece trial for, I can't say who yet, but it's going to be one of the largest real estate groups in the country.
Remax.
Wow.
Do you have Remax over there? Did I guess right?
What? You went silent.
He isn't watching this.
Hey, you haven't said anything. I just had an educated guess.
You spoke with your eyes.
He called this guy. He reps. He does marketing for all these companies.
Uh-oh.
You're breaking up, dude.
Oh, just when he was ready to get good. I think you broke him with the Remax comment.
Yeah. His office cut off.
A thing to stop it.
We're going to start doing now.
That was such a lucky guess because they're the only ones I know that are both in Australia and America.
Okay. Nick, you cut out there, dude. Can you repeat?
Yeah, sorry. I'm back. Anyways, so we get he calls me yesterday and says, I need to do 200 as a trial run for these guys. I said, okay. I'm not really, I haven't been doing it. I've been doing some for a few people just because of a bunch of all the family stuff going on. I had to cut back and said, you know what? Let's do it. And I'll figure out how to make it work.
200 thank you cards mailed out, right?
No, 200 envelopes. Where'd my box go? I have 200 envelopes and sales letters stuffed, and all we're doing is handwriting the envelopes.
I think that personal touch right there would just get so many opens. That's
Why
awesome.
are you only handwriting the envelope? Just because then people won't throw it in the bin?
Get them to open it. Probably.
Yeah.
To get them to open it, probably.
Yep.
Wow.
Pattern interrupt.
That's a total pattern. Yeah, and pattern interrupt. I know a lot of people. I've thrown that out before. It's and people are like, "What is that?" It's basically a way to break away from the norm that everyone's used to, so you can stand out a lot faster. So if you were to if Nick was sending out the same thing and it was just a postcard that was like the best Bed Bath & Beyond 20% off thing, which does get your attention because I'm talking about it. But if it was just a company didn't know and sent it to you, you knew it was an advertisement. But if it's a handwritten letter, you're going to take your time to open it. And in that moment of opening it, you're going to decide right there, yes, it's an advertisement, but then how do they handwrite? So it's going to keep your attention a lot longer. So that's a great pattern interrupt. That's freaking awesome. I love that idea of him sending letters. I think it just goes back to when things were, were the things that people aren't doing, which I think is brilliant. He froze again.
Oh, Nick's gone. Damn it. I wanted to ask Nick if it's, Nick, are you still in the comments? Yep. Is your business profitable yet? Surely it would be. Is it part of your actual income? If you, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
That's great, dude.
I'm going to steal your idea and just do it in Australia.
Well, it doesn't cost a lot to take a pen and
Sarah's going to be the Australian division.
The trouble is postage. Postage is so cheap in America, but in Australia, it's tears you another one.
I don't understand that, dude. I've heard the cost of living and then the internet not working so well. It seems like everyone wants to go. It seems like an amazing place. But
postage, yeah.
It's because we have to import everything, and we're so far away, and so.
And you've got 9 of the world's 10 most
really,
and
spiders.
Probably snakes as well. There is.
Yeah. Snakes that just drop down on you.
There's this guy here, right? He's on the Sunshine Coast, which is in my state. He's got an awesome business, and he's killing it on social media. He's one of my favorite people like employing a strategy and just like sticking with it. So he basically jumped on the video train. He's like, I'm going to video everything. What he does, right? He's just one little guy, and you can call him if you have a snake, and because we have floods here, and
speed
we
dial.
have floods here, and
in
the summer, like when it's dry in the summer, like snakes just basically you get to a certain time of the year and snakes just get on the move. They're looking to live in your roof, or it's just like they just. Anyway, this lady, Tom was showing me last night. This lady was driving her car down the highway, and she's like, I think I have a snake in my car. And so she calls this guy and she's like, I think I have a tree snake in my car. And he's like, okay, what color is it? And she's like, red and black. And he's like, that's not a tree snake. You need to get out of your car. And so he came and found her, and it was in the bonnet kind of area, like the front. It wasn't like in her car, but she saw its head pop up when she was driving.
Oh
it was
my
like,
goodness.
And it was a red belly black snake, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a freaking dangerous snake.
Wow.
No, but it sounds bad. It sounds like they eat rattlesnakes for breakfast. Dude, Mike, you seem to not know. So you need to Google everything in Australia wants to kill you, and just tons of memes come up and tons of things. They're so funny. Like one of the advices for surviving in Australia is hope that something.
It's like in Star Wars. There's always the bigger fish. In episode 1.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that I keep my my dialogue to a PG or a G level right now, Sarah, since Poppy's in the background.
I got headphones in. It's fine. You can cuss all you want.
She starts blasting like words left and right. I'm like, what's going on?
So postage. So the reason why, but you guys have.
Apparently, Mike, my son knows that you.
What?
It was half a sentence.
Oh, I was big. Remember that last time you called me, Mike, and my son was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm talking to someone." Who, Mike? Like he says bad words or something like that. And I was like, "How do you know that? You've never talked to him."
Oh.
I swear it was just one of those random things. Or something. I was like, how?
Oh, wow.
I like how Jared gets on, and Jared's like normally the host, but he's like derailed the conversation so many times.
Yeah, good job, Jared. Good.
I'm just here to distract.
Sit there with your.
If my day's
going
to be derailed, so is yours. No, actually, I just jumped on to answer your question, and I'm just waiting. Mike keeps stopping me. I was just trying to answer the question, and I'm going to jump off. I'm trying to fill out the application.
Oh my God.
For
you're taking away
over here.
We're recording this, Jared. This is something people are going to listen to. Oh my God, Poppy is asleep on your back right now.
She's asleep.
She's like this, just like on your back. All right, it's now 2:00. Let's kind of move to wrap this up. Who wants to give some really good feedback on what we just spoke about? Jared, would you like to, Mr. Happy?
He hasn't been listening.
He's like watching. He's listening and judging, making sure I'm doing this right.
He's taking out a hit on me because I do his job better than him.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Actually, Sarah, are you going to be able to fill in for me next week, or should we look for someone to be me?
Should be okay, I think.
Awesome. Cool.
Actually, I will say, Sarah, every time you're on the show, our stats go like way up.
Oh, double,
like, at least double, if
my
not
butt.
More.
On Blab or on YouTube views?
Blab.
On Blab, and then we were on Blab. So anytime we do have you on, they jump up. It's like your audience.
There'll probably be more here too. There'll probably be more here too, except a lot of people that follow me are at Periscope.
Yeah.
At the Periscope Summit. So
at what? Oh, they follow on Periscope.
I will wrap up a little bit.
Yeah.
I just want to say to everyone, if you want to remember some of the advice, just take action. Just do something. Just reach out to someone. Do something. How can you give value to someone today? How can you make someone's life a better place today? And kind of not expect anything in return. Just keep jabbing until you get to the place where someone gives you the opportunity to right hook.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind people of that. And that's what I would be doing if I had clarity on what I to do.
Yeah. So if you're like, what can I do? What can I do? Here's something you can do. And this is what I've been doing since last week. And I'm actually going to incorporate this into every Monday. I'm literally sending out a message. So this is what I did. I went to LinkedIn. I downloaded my LinkedIn list. And it's over 500 people. And it's a CSV file. So I uploaded it to Google Docs, Google Drive, and it created an Excel spreadsheet. And then I alphabetized it from the top to bottom. So what I'm doing is every Monday, I'm going through 20 people, and I'm sending them a message on LinkedIn, and it basically says this. I'm doing a challenge every week where I reach out to 20 people I know and offer help them with something. Even if I can't provide the solution, I will most likely be able to connect you with who can. So far, I've helped people connect. So far, that's how I've helped. I've connected 2 people on my LinkedIn list who could benefit from each other's business. I found a babysitter for the area that for someone who was moving to in DC, which is true. Also true. I found an HVAC professional for someone in Boston. I connected a friend in Philly with a network of people to get her more copywriting business and other cool stuff. So what's the one thing I can help you with this week? Really, no strings attached. And I just sent that to 20 people, and if anything, I'll get like at least 3 responses really quickly. And it's just a good way. So even when I'm looking at someone, I'm like, I don't really know. I was like, even though I questioned if I should send it to them, I just sent it. So if you're looking for something to do, just do it. And I challenge you to do that. And if you're like, I don't want to do that, then find something else to do. But just do it and get something done, because it's going to get the ball rolling. It's going to give you momentum. It's like running a marathon. You have to get off the couch. You can sit there and think about it the whole time. But unless you start moving your feet, you're never going to get to the finish line.
Okay, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to help people with their Twitter strategy if they want, because a lot of people don't get Twitter. A lot of people struggle with Twitter. That's
a great idea. Just email or just connect with 20 people and be like, I'm giving out a free Twitter strategy session. So, and just do that. And then I would make that part of your plan. Just every week, send it out to 5, 10, 20 people. And that's it. And then the next week, do the same thing and do the same thing. But when they get back to you, follow up. Because when my buddy got back to me from Harpoon, we haven't talked in years. I got on the phone and he was like, this really intrigued me because it showed me that you are reliable, you're quick to get back to me, you're well connected, and that really stood out. And I was like, holy crap, I didn't even see any of that stuff. So you're going to provide things, they're going to see something in that you're not going to see, and it's going to open up opportunities in some way, and it's going to lead to something either. I think you guys should really try that out. Jared, do you want to say something before we close out?
You guys missed having me in the beginning of the show, didn't you?
I was nervous, man. I was nervous. I was like, I don't know how to run this.
He didn't intro it very well. You might have to dub it.
Yeah, I kind of intro, and then Mike kind of takes over, and then I'm like, I better say something, otherwise it's like turns into the Mike show with Jared. It's like Jimmy Fallon or any of those late night where he's the host, and I'm the guy on the side that like anytime he needs help, he like goes right so and so, and the guy makes a quick little joke until he
we'll just give you a drum kit, and you'll be like, boom.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I'll just
or some glasses like what's his face, Dave Letterman's sidekick. I'm gonna call you a sidekick. Give us a value, Jared.
I'm agree with you guys. I mean, I've been listening to, as you know, you can see I've been moving, and so I don't want to waste my time, so I've been having this in my ear with Gary Vee, and I was like, you know what, I watch all of his videos, but I subscribe to his podcast, and I've listened to like half of them, and he's like at 100 and something. So I burned through like half of them in the last week and a half of moving, and so it's literally like 4 or 5 hours a day of straight just listening to this stuff. And it really comes down to like the thing it's almost like he just says the same thing over and over. And it's like, you have to have patience and you have to provide value. You put out value, massive value, and you have to have patience with it. You're not going to put out a ton of value and then a week later get $1 million contract. You just have to have that patience. And it just, a lot of people don't do that. They're trying to just, like I got hit up, I think three times today. So yesterday I bought a domain name. I haven't bought a domain name in like a year, and I bought one last night for something I'm doing, and I get 2 super spammy. One of them is like, I don't know how it's not criminal. They made it look like it was support from my host saying, hey, here, it's a message. It was from support. You bought your domain. Now you need to set up your SEO stuff. And I click here to set it up. And I was like, I know this isn't my domain company, but I'm going to follow this link anyway. It's some like, they want me to sign up for some SEO package. So if I'm just like someone's grandma who needs to get a website, or just someone who doesn't know, like, I need to get into the website business, I totally would have probably followed through that, and they would have gotten business off of a spammy way. And
what would have made you? But what would have made you actually buy from them? What would they have done that you would have been like, yeah, I'll talk to you?
Okay, off the way they did it, nothing. They're clearly designed to get the low-hanging fruit of people who don't know better. The only way, because like the only way I would have actually been interested is because I'm not interested, but how they could have got me interested is if they were like, hey, and there's some sort of whatever where they wanted to talk about whatever. And the guy, if they could have figured out how to get me on the phone, let's put it that way, or on a Skype call, and the guy would have walked through, hey, you just bought the thing, what do you know? And he could have given me some tips, kind of like how Sarah did, but like more of a call type thing. And at the end of it, if he was like, hey, we'd love to help you, here's a package, or here's a whatever, or something like, hey, what if we get you, you pick one page of your site or one article, and we'll do our little magic, and we'll get that page ranked on the first page of Google. Then would you, keep going? Something like that, where they're providing value, versus they were just like, hey, let's trick you into thinking that this is just part of the sign-up process.
So real quick, though, like, how they were just a company outside of the company you bought from, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so, like, this is what I would have done. This is just me thinking about it. Like, if I was that company, I would have emailed you directly and been like, hey, man, we have it set up to know when people actually buy domains. We're just going to be out there and just tell you this. We see you buy a domain. We've got this thing where we can just give you, like, an SEO tip for your first page. Would you be interested in just having a 15-minute phone call, and we could tell you what to do? See, like, I would have done that if I was that company. And then I think I would have had more people potentially calling me and been like, absolutely. And that's where I could have provided value. Like, be transparent, say, like, this is how we got your information. This is just, just be open and honest about it. I think that, for me, I think that would have opened up, yeah, man, I actually appreciate you saying it like that, but sure, I'll do it. Or even like, no, but that's cool,
When I had one other company who emailed me, he was transparent that, hey, I saw that you just registered, because I don't care about, I don't do any of the extra like privacy stuff. None of my stuff I need like private. I just leave it public. And so he messaged, I was like, okay. And then, but his whole thing was essentially just a huge right hook. He's like, hey, hire me to design your website because I saw you bought a domain. Therefore, you must need a designer. Hire me to be your designer. It wasn't even a handwritten email. It was an image. So when I opened it, it was an image of like, they literally like wrote it out, saved it as a JPEG and attached it. So that when I opened up the email, it was just this JPEG image. And I was like, what the frick? Like, why in the world would I even call you back when you're doing that? And then I had a guy messaging me on Facebook, very broken English, which is not a big deal. I have a lot of people, people have been joining the group and, and whatnot. I've had a few people, from well, it's cool that we're hitting the rest of the world, but this one guy has messaged me, and I couldn't understand what he was saying at first, but I basically got down to where he's not from here, and he wants me to partner with him. Never talked to this guy before, so talk about like Gary Vaynerchuk's whole like romance a girl first. He like it messaged me, hits me up on a message right after joining the group, and it's like, hey, like, you need to help me. You're the entrepreneur. I want to start a cannabis business, and you're the entrepreneur for it. And I was like, what are you trying to say? And he's like, oh, I need to start this up. And I was like, well, okay, you're in the right group if you're, needing to start a business. He messaged me back. He's like, I have no clue how to start a business in America. And I was like, okay, so you're literally wanting me to drop what I'm doing and build you a business because I'm in America and I'm a business entrepreneur. And I was like, what the heck, man? Like, people are just like, today was a day of spamming. Like, I got like 3, just like no one put any effort into it, hit me up. And
it's not even like, I don't even know what that is. That's like, that's weird. It's like, I'm here to help you with you giving me free advice.
Yeah, and it was crazy. I was like, today's just a day of people not trying. It's like if you think about them, like they're doing the first 2, they're doing the exact same thing you are, in the sense that they're using a method to get an email address, and then they're reaching out to them. The difference is the first 2 people said, well, the first one was just trying to trick me, and that pissed me off. The second one was basically saying, buy my thing, and they're making a logic mistake by saying, because this, therefore you now want my service. And then the difference with you is you're saying, hey, I basically same thing. I came to the conclusion, but instead of saying I came to the conclusion that you can help me and buy from me, I came to the conclusion that I can help you. If that's true, how can I help you? And so you're doing the exact same thing as they're doing, but reversing it. As if they're putting out, like a negative polarity, you're putting out a positive polarity, and you're sending out 20 a week, and you're saying 2 or 3 people right away, or hitting you up, and then all the stuff it's doing. Imagine 6 months from now when you've had like, out of all these emails you've sent, let's say you've had like 50 of these people that you've helped connect. Now you got 50 people who feel like they owe you something.
Yeah.
And like you said, there are another 50 people out there who hear animation and go, Mike Doyle.
Well, here's the thing too, and then we're going to close this out. Ben, I would have let you in, man, but we're actually going to close this, so I apologize. But if anyone has any questions or wants to join the entrepreneur group real fast, I just put the link in the comments. It's free to join. Feel free to share the link or join it. We love talking like this. We bring the conversation there, so it's real time. Shit, that's what I was going to say. Shoot.
You were going to talk about probably, I'm guessing you were probably going to mention.
Okay, so here's a strategy. Here's a strategy for that. This is what referrals. So let's say you're going to do a referral thing. We're going to give referrals. Keep an Excel spreadsheet. This is why I learned this in sales, and I did it a lot and actually worked. Keep a column that says referrals given, referrals asked, and referrals received. And keep track of everyone you give referrals to who, what was said, and what was the last thing that happened. Did they connect? Did they not connect, or whatever? And so you'll find that I found that after a couple weeks, my referrals given was like at 50. My referrals asked was at maybe like 5 or 10, and then received, that list would fluctuate. So I'd go back and I'd look at who I gave a referral to, and it would be through email. And I'd email them both and say, hey guys, where are you at with this? So I'd follow up with them and be like, did you guys connect? What's going on? Did you move things forward? And then when they reply back, oh yeah, we actually connected, that's great. Be like, awesome. And then a couple weeks later, you could be like, all right, good. Now I know that I can reach out to these guys and be like, hey man, real quick, I just can ask a favor. I saw you're connected to this person. Would you mind giving me an introduction? So that's the hook. That's the hook, right? Yeah, jab, jab, punch, or the freak.
Jab, jab, right hook.
Right hook. That's the right hook.
He actually said that the original name was jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah.
He fought the publisher, and finally the publisher actually paid him more money to take some of the jabs out.
It's amazing. Awesome. All right, so we're going to close out on this. Apologize for not letting anybody in. Sorry about that. But again, go to the Entrepreneur Roundtable. Again, I just put the link in the bottom. Sign up for the group. Sarah Moore, thank you so much for being Jared. Jared, thank you so much for being you. And Poppy, thank you for hitting your mom.
She just dug her heel into my leg.
That's her hand, just hair. Yeah, so that's it. We're going to close this out, and that's it. So get out of here. Go away. Thank you. I'm going to